Okay, I hope everybody can hear me now. I didn't remember to put the audio input in, but I hope now that's fine. That's okay. All right, so what I am going to do today that's going to help us to have an understanding or to have an overview of the book is to quickly just go over uh, what the whole of the book is all about. And we have talked about the law of mastery. We have talked about the laws of mental mastery. That this book is about maximum. It's called maximum achievement actually, and it's strategies and skills that will unlock your hidden powers to succeed in life. And there are different definitions for success that every one of us may feel comfortable with. But in my own understanding, I think success is when you have been able to fulfill God's destiny for you. It may not be in the same fashion that the people of the world expect, but when you're doing what God wants you to do, you are being successful. However, it takes mental engagement to be able to do anything worthwhile on earth. With our spirit, we deal with God, but with our mental agility, with our mental cognitive ability, we deal with one another, and that needs to continuously be improved upon. That's why the scripture says we should not be conformed to this world, but be renewed be transformed rather by the renewal of our mind, so that we may be able to show that which is good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. So it is very, very important the whole idea of the book that you must not forget is the fact that there is a direct link between the quality of your thoughts and the quality of your life. Very, very important. Now that reminds me of a portion of scriptures in the book of Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7 says, the way man thinks in his heart, so is he. So your external circumstances and achievements and an accurate reflection of whatever you think about most of the time. Remember what it says, most of the time, not occasionally, but most of the time. So by exercising control over those things you think about consistently, you can experience a greater sense of power, purpose, and direction. And individual levels of achievement are based on accessing the normally hidden reservoirs of potential that lie deep within every member of the human race. You have potentials. In actual fact, that's what we call the hidden powers to succeed. Hidden power to succeed. So the way to be happy and successful, by any definition you set for yourself anyway, in terms of what you are going to classify as success, lies in finding the right combination of thoughts and actions, and then integrating those thoughts and accomplishing those actions in your whole life. When you can do this on a consistent and regular basis, you'll be happy and successful. So we have 7 laws of mental mastery that we are going to be using, and by using those 7 laws of mental mastery, you can create in reality whatever life you can imagine. And we have enumerated those laws before that: the law of control, the law of cause and effect, the law of belief, the law of expectations, the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, the law of mental mastery, mental equivalency. And subsequent to those laws that we have looked at other masters that we have got to there are other items that we have got to become masters at them. And one that we did last, done by Pastor Abil Habi, was the master program. Meaning, your master program controls all aspects of how you think and feel about your life. Significantly, you can reprogram your master program to more accurately align it with where you want to go and what you want to achieve. So the master program of your subconscious mind is your self-concept, and your self-concept can be divided into 3 categories in which they all amalgamate together to form your self-concept. And the bundle of beliefs about yourself and your life You have your self-ideal when we're talking about your self-content, self-image, and self-esteem. Self-image has to do with what you see about yourself and what you think about yourself. While self-esteem has to do with what you feel about yourself. But they are interlinked in the sense that what you think may determine what you feel about yourself. Your self-idea just gives you the idea of what you imagine your life will be in the future, and how you generate the thinking, the thought that are consistent with that, and then the feelings follow after. The feelings don't go beyond your thinking. Your thinking goes before your feeling. Feeling just follows what you think. So in order for you to this means you have to consistently change your inner beliefs, really. And in order for you to change how you act, you got to have to change what you believe, and your external actions will soon fall into alignment. So the way for mental empowerment, the way for life behavioral change doesn't start by correcting behavior, but start by the thinking. It's the thinking that will determine what the behavior would eventually be. So today we are going to be focusing on the mastermind. I just quickly give us a summary of the master program. So what the mastermind is all about is your ability to harness your mental powers in the quest for maximum achievement. Because if you do this, and there are methods and techniques by which you can do this. And there are also, in our subsequent broadcasts, we'll have the master skill. How the skill of success is to set goals and then make specific and concrete plans for achieving those goals. You have the master power as well, in which you use your superconscious to enable you to accomplish virtually any goal that can be imagined. Then you have the master decision, where you can activate your higher powers for personal and business success. When we say higher powers, I don't want you to begin to think of Eastern religion, blah blah blah. Higher power is nothing else but the fact that God in your life, that's the higher power we can think of through the person of Jesus. Yeah, you must decide to accept complete and total respect for who you are now, where you are, and for everything you become. But in your association with Christ, it shows you and it gives you grace that is above your ability. Because the grace of God is not giving you, the grace of God is to give you what you don't deserve. However, it can be frustrated, but grace can increase as you increase in the knowledge of God, the higher power over your life. Then there is a master goal. The master goal for any person's life oftentimes is to achieve more inner peace, and this is done by organizing every aspect of your life to generate the greatest happiness for yourself and for the people closest to you. So we have mastering human relationships as well. It's so important that we have to get that right. Mastering human relationship. There is a statistic that shows that at least 85% of success in life is going to be determined by our ability to get along with other people in a personal or business context. Therefore, mastering human relations is essential to long-term success. And then that human relationships on a general note, but then there is the personal relationship, in which the most important thing in life is love and developing close personal relationship with your spouse, your wife, or your husband. These relations are essential to your self-esteem and happiness, and ultimately reflect in anything you endeavor to achieve in your business career or ministerial career. Mastering the art of parenting. Oh, can somebody tell me about that again? And mastering the power of love. For God hath not given unto us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. So these are all the masters that we're still going to look at. But let's start our let's continue by looking at particularly what we are looking at today, which is the mastery, the mastermind. So how do we start? let's look. I've just given us a recap of what we have been focusing on for a while. So the main idea of the mastermind is that it is possible to harness your mental powers in the quest for maximum achievement. Do this by using the mastermind methods and techniques. So there are certain techniques, there are certain methods that can help you to be able to harness your inner potential. Now, supporting ideas around that main idea is the fact that high achievers all share one common characteristic that they have developed, and unshakable faith in their own ability to overcome obstacles and achieve greatness in their chosen field. I think this is very, very important. Success in life is not linear. It's not a linear line. It's not a linear trajectory. No, it's zigzag. It's up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. In fact, somebody says success is failure from failure without giving up. So it's important to know when the going gets tough, where do the tough go? Or when things don't work as they're supposed to work, do you then throw in the towel because of that? No. You can never achieve anything in life if all what you know how to do is to run away each time you face difficulties. You're going to have to stay there and face it squarely and ask for God's grace to be able to help you. It's just life. That's just life. Those who achieve anything, they will tell you again and again that listen, it is not giving up on anything that you have put your hands to do. So but that comes out of the Father, out of the depth of faith that you have within you, to be able to say that look, come rain or sunshine, come high waters or depth of hell, I'm still in this, and I have put my hands to the plow. I'm not looking back until I finish my race. So most people acknowledge they only use a small percentage of their capacities in everyday life. That's very true. Our mental capacity is amazing, but unfortunately, we will never be able to use 100% of it on earth, no matter how developed we become. So the key to achieving more is to access the hidden potential of the subconscious mind, our subconscious mind. While the conscious mind gathers information through the senses, the subconscious stores all information. The subconscious cannot distinguish between reality and thoughts. It can't distinguish between reality and thoughts. So we may as well just give our subconscious mind the thought we want that sometimes are contrary to the reality we are seeing. So laws of the consumption mind, subconscious mind include the law of subconscious activity. That is, the subconscious mind will accept as true anything your conscious mind accepts. So we might then therefore need to program our mind to the reality we want to experience as opposed to the reality we are seeing. There's a difference. There's a difference between walking in the reality of what you are imagining as opposed to walking the reality of what you are facing. Some people say, I can't lie, I'm not. No, that's not lying. That's just using the power of your potential to bring to reality what you are imagining. You got to have a picture. It's a picture in your mind that you hold there, constantly seeing where you are going, and your subconscious mind will accept it and set about to create it for you. So that's the first one. There's just about 4 of them that we are going to look at right now. Then the second one is the law of concentration. He said the more you think about something and dwell on it, the more likely that thing will become a reality. You literally become what you think about most of the time. So it's important to understand this, that and I found that to be true to a great extent, in the sense that when a great need arises in my life, all I just need to, I may not see a way out, but I just need to pray and begin to explore and imagine the way out. As soon as I'm able to figure the way out, something oozes from within me, and eventually that's what becomes the reality. Law of concentration. Law of concentration also makes applicable that in times of prayers, you're able to focus on what you want God to do, and you're able to say, you are imagining it in and out of prayer time, even when you're walking, when you're thinking, Lord, this is what I want. Lord, this is and you have it, definiteness of it in your heart, in your mind. It's amazing how those things, how the whole life begins to conspire to bring that reality to your experience, to become your experience. Then the next one is the law of substitution. Your conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time. Therefore, by replacing one negative thought with a positive thought, you literally take hold of your emotions. You can't think twice. You can't be looking at two things at the same time. No, you can only focus on one at a time. And so, if you have the tendency that the negative thought predominates in your heart, you have a way. What you could do is just replace it. And one of the best ways I taught a younger son of mine, is that when he says negative thought, I says, say it out and dump it. Now say the positive thought out and imbibe it. How do you do that? When you talk, when you say something, the first person that hears what you say is yourself. So if you don't want the negative thought to keep bombarding you, to keep harassing you, to keep attacking you, then look for word replacement that you can say out. As you say it out to yourself, it's more or less like self-talk. You may look like a madman talking to yourself, but then you can do it in a secret manner, in a very discreet manner, by looking for spaces whereby nobody is watching you, and you can start saying that to yourself. And before you know it, your mind begins to believe what you are saying with your mind, because you see, two thoughts cannot pass through your mind at the same time. So what you are saying is what your mind will be paying attention to. And there is an alignment with what is in your mind and what is in your mouth. The moment that alignment is regularized, your mind takes it as truth. Your subconscious mind also takes it in. Now, the fourth law is the law of reversibility. Why are we looking at all these four laws? It's important. We're looking at the laws of the subconscious mind. So it is important. We have looked at law of subconscious activity and the law of concentration, law of substitution. Now the law of reversibility. You can reverse. In developing method thought patterns, effort defeats itself. So that is the more you relax and avoid worry, the faster you develop new patterns of thoughts. The faster you develop new patterns of thought, relax and avoid worry. Just adopt a philosophy to say, this one will pass, this one will also pass. It's just a question of time. This one will pass, and you stay the course. You stay the course. This one will pass. I'll become a better person through this. That is very, very important. So law of reversibility means, again, in developing mental thought patterns, effort defeats itself. That is, the more you relax and avoid worry, the faster you will develop new patterns of thoughts. Okay? Now let's move on to the next one. Now this is just some of the statements from the book Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy that will be of great help to you. So your outer world is an inherent reflection of your subconscious world. So there is a world that is not seen that is controlling the world that is seen. That's what he's saying. And the scripture says, you say, well, we look not on the things that are seen, but on the things that are not seen. But the things that are seen are temporal, and the things that are not seen, they are eternal. They are eternal. They are eternal. And in another vein as well, I think 2 Corinthians 4:17 says, "For our light affliction is but for a moment, and is working in us a far more and exceeding eternal weight of glory that we can't see yet." So it's very, very important that the people who are making waves, they are people who master, who have a form of spirituality, and know how to access their inner strength and power, hidden potentials. Hopefully they will have Jesus in their life, because if they don't have Jesus in their life, they can access something that is beyond what they have power over. Because the spirit realm is open, and it's not only just the good spirit realm that is open, the evil spirit realm is also open. So some of these Eastern religions, they just camouflage as good, but they can what? They can bring you into bondage, and an evil spirit can hide behind the sweet words you might think you are hearing. So verbally state out loud your desired outcome and affirm this is your ultimate objective. So you can see that when we're talking about subconscious word, that your mouth plays a big role. You got to have to stay it out. I keep saying to myself that I am a great nation. How I'm going to be, I don't know, because it's what God has spoken to me over the years. In actual fact, amazingly enough, today is exactly 35 years when He spoke to me. 35 years when He revealed to me what my life is going to be, what the whole essence of my life is going to be like. 13th of August 1986. I realized that while I was preparing for this broadcast, to say, wow, how time flies. And I believe all it done so far was just preparing me for the last lap of my life. It's taken me more than 30 years to be prepared for the last lap of my life. So I just believe I'm in a transitioning period to be able to come into what the whole essence of my life is. But did God make a mistake? 35 years is a long time to be prepared for something, so that it might not be by my ability, it might be by grace. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace. Romans 4:16. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, so that I may live by His grace, I may do things by His grace, and know that it's not of myself, no, it's not of me that willeth, not of me that runneth, but of the Lord that shows mercy. 35 years today. Wow. Yeah, it looks big to us. In His sight, in His economy, it's nothing, but to us who are on earth, it's a long way, and it is a long way, truly. So visualize yourself achieving your goal. See yourself already walking in the reality of the goal you have in your mind. That is, possessing your future before it comes. That's what that means. Add emotion to your visualization by creating the feelings you will experience when the achievement is realized. Wow. Feeling of contentment, feeling of becoming satisfied, feeling of being at the position to help people, feeling of being the head and not the tail, feeling of being an eye to the blind, feeling of being the legs to the lame, feeling of what would be like that you provide legs for the lame, you provide eyes for the blind, feeling of becoming the ears to the deaf and the mouth to the dumb, feeling of transformation, feeling of saying, wow, I'd like to be of help to this one. Feelings of, I say it again because over the years it's become a reality that you don't get satisfied, fulfilled in life by what you get from others. You get fulfilled by what you give to others. That's where fulfillment comes in. So having an emotions of wanting to help others gives you a sense of fulfillment. How much more when you actually carry it out? That some people are waking up each day and thanking God for your life because you have impacted them. Fourth, the mastermind we're talking about here. How to develop strong patterns of thought in your subconscious or mastermind. Once you have planted the seed in your subconscious, free yourself from worry. Trust your subconscious to do its job. Turn your mind to other things. You can occasionally be visiting to examine, to evaluate, and to see how far you have come. Also, be prepared for realization, the appearance in your physical world of people and events which are directly aligned with the goal you set. I have found that to be true. There is a way in which the world, there is a way in which nature, there is a way in which conspires to bring into your life, to begin to bring to your way how what you have been dreaming, what you have been asking, what you have been thinking, you begin to see it unfolding through your connections, through your interactions, through you're forming new relationships that are enhancing and that are helping you to move forward in line of your goal, in line of your thoughts. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And it's the reality of this law of subconscious mind, the mastermind. So to accelerate this process that we have read, try writing out a detailed present tense description of the major goals you would like to realize each day. When you say each day, that comes into routine. I would rather just write it and examine it occasionally as opposed to each day. It begins to come into the realm of routine, and I'm not so much. Yes, there are certain routines that I have to do, but I'm much more of a spontaneous person than of routine. My routine will come out of my spontaneity. But then it's also good. It's a discipline. It's a discipline to have a routine that you are checking particularly every day. And truly, if something that matters to you, you want to check every day, then put down your pen, close your eyes, and mentally visualize that goal as accomplished. Then carry on with your day. That's very true. That's very true. You see, that was one of the things that God was trying to do with the Israelites. Went in Numbers chapter 13. He asked Joshua, he asked Moses to choose representatives from each tribe of Israel, and in which he chose Joshua from the tribe of Judah, if I'm right, and Caleb. I've forgotten what tribe Caleb belongs to. Among the 12 spies to go to the land, because he wanted them to fill their minds with what their future looks like in the land. That's why they could come back with clusters of grapes and pomegranates. And they saw the possibility, they saw the challenges, but they decided to focus on the challenges. And yeah, they came back and painting the picture of the challenges, more of the opportunities and privileges. And God was mad, because that was not what he wanted them to get. He wanted them to fill their minds with the possibility ahead of them, so they will be motivated to go forward. But they came back with evil reports. And God said, as you have spoken in my eyes, so it's going to happen to you, that you will die in the wilderness. You will not even go, you will not enter the promised land. So it's important to keep the picture of your future with you in your mind constantly, because that's what will motivate you. That will help you. It's good to daydream, but you daydream of the future ahead of you, and God will begin to give you insight on how to take steps towards that. So set aside a 24-hour period on a regular basis, during which you think about nothing except your goals and objectives. I was talking with one of our pastors this afternoon. He said, how are you, Pastor? I said, I'm okay. He said, you're right. I said, well, this is what I'm just thinking of. I'm thinking there's a 6-month goal ahead of me that I'm just, how do I fulfill that? In 6 months' time, I must realize this thing. And it looks like a mountain at first, but now it's becoming clearer and clearer that, yeah, it's achievable. With God on my side, it's achievable. It's the same way. Bring your prayer point before God. Show him. But don't just dump them there with him. Engage his spirit within you with your prayer point and begin to think. And you'll be amazed how the thought of the spirit will be bearing upon your spirit, man, to say, why don't you call so? Why don't you do it this way? Why don't you talk to this one? Why don't you ask this one? Why don't you do this? And guess what? They become the light that God wants to shed on you achieving that thing. Well, that's what we have a mastermind for today. We got about almost 26 minutes left to be able to fulfill our time, but there is no hard and fast rule that we must fulfill that. More so, this thing have been segmented into different masters in the book summary. So except I move on to the next one, but unfortunately I have not provided the slide for the master skill. Maybe if I read through it, that can help us. But at the same time, I am thinking I have just been following one master issue at a time. Wow. Yeah. Let's do that the master skill, because we still have plenty of time. The idea behind the master skill is to set goals and then make specific and concrete plans for achieving those goals. And the supporting ideas around that is identify your goals, frequently write down your answers to these questions. I will still post these ones on the screen on the PowerPoint next week, but for now let me just read them out to you. What are your 5 most important values in life? You must be able to identify values that you are willing to die for. Because if you are willing to die for certain values, that means you will live by those values. I remember a year 1995/1996, I got hold of a book written by George Banner called The Power of Vision. And in those books were series of questions that have to do with the heart, that has to do with my ability, that has to do with my emotions. Those questions took me many nights to answer them, because it gave me insight into my subconscious, into myself. And I wrote, and that changed me. In fact, that's what has changed me since then, in the sense that it gave me a focus as to what I'm living for, what I will live for the rest of my life. 1995 to now is 26 years ago. And it has defined me truly as to what my whole life drive will be like. What is it going to be like? So, most important values, and there are questions of values as well. What are values? Values are things that you are willing to stand on, and are what you got that you can give to others. What are your 3 most important goals in life at present? Must be able to write those things down as well. At present, what are your 3 most important goals in life? And I think one of the best way that you can do that is to say long-term goal, short-term goal, and immediate goal. As I just said to you now, my immediate goal is 6 months, some 6-month goal that is ahead of me. My short-term goals, what are they? That goes beyond just 6 months to 1 year or 2 years. What about the long-term goal? That goes to about 10 years. And I'm seeing it vividly in my heart, and I'm trusting God that He will be able to do that. So you got to have to be able to do that. What are your 3 most important goals in life? In life, it says, at present, what would you do and how would you spend your time if you had just 6 months to live? Wow. I will set some things in place. I will put my house in order, just as Hezekiah was asked to do. What are the things that are out of order that I need to put in order? So what would you do if you won $1 million in cash, tax-free, in Lotto this weekend? Even though you don't play Lotto, but just in case, just to think wild. Some people will say they will go on a holiday of a lifetime. But what would you do? What about you? You got £1 million or $1 million drop onto your lap. If you haven't got a premeditated answer to that, I can assure you that it will filter through your fingers without you being able to account for how you spent it eventually. So this is what you do, because free money that comes into our hands that we have not been able to premeditated that we need money for this thing, we need from, they just always disappear. Even the one you are saving, when issues come, you just go and pick them out and spend. Why? Because they are not targeted at an objective. What have you wanted to do but been afraid to attempt? Those are part of the questions in identifying your goals that you need answers to. Excuse me, please. What do you most intensely enjoy doing? What activities generate the greatest amount of personal satisfaction? What one great thing would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? And once you have identified your goals, you need a program to achieve those goals. These steps, the steps to goal achievement are developing an intense burning desire, which will serve as a motivational force propelling you onwards. You got to have, to have an intense desire, you got to have to be looking at the end, looking unto Jesus, who is the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despised the shame. So one thing that was motivating Jesus to finish his race was the fact that he knew he was going to sit at the right hand of God the Father. So he was looking beyond his present circumstance to the ultimate goal of being at the right hand of God the Father, the position of power, the position of honor and dignity, the position of eminence, the position above all positions. And now he's going to call his brothers to sit together with him in that heavenly place in him. So an intense desire that this cup will pass over me and I will cross over to the position of victory and the position of exaltation, whereby I will sit at the right hand of God the Father. So humanity has become part of divinity, sitting at the right hand of God the Father. Wow. And here he's called you and I to sit down there as well. I think in another 4 minutes time I'll bring this to an end, because what I should be doing with you next week is I'm already shooting into next week. I'm leaving tomorrow today. But well, this is just a taster for you to be prepared for what we're going to be focusing on next week. And we might also have to combine it with the next one, which has to do with the master power. But let me leave this where it is at the moment. Let's just look at the key thoughts that Brian Tracy said, and Thomas Carlyle. He says success equals goals and all less is commentary. What that for means is this: whatever you want to achieve. I remember setting a goal in 2013, a 7-year goal in 2013. I looked at the goals today. One is fully achieved, even though, yeah, it was achieved actually. Yeah, I set out to want to do a degree course in leadership and management in 2013, but I finished with a master's degree in leadership and theology and leadership in 2020. So I even went beyond the goal of just having a first degree in leadership and management, because something that happened along the way helped me open a better door for me. That instead of first degree, you can do master's degree in theology and leadership. Theology I had done before, but the leadership was the key focus, and all in preparation for our leadership institute, so as to be able to validate it. So that's one. And then also set a project, set myself a target, a 7-year goal for a project. I lost 3 years out of that, but isn't it amazing? The project is almost finished. It's almost finished. So, but it brought focus. 3 years were 9 years of activity. And reviewing what I had said, I mean, quite a number of them. So now the new decade started last year. was another time to set another goals for the next 10 years. On a personal basis, on a ministerial basis, family basis, and all that. And it's amazing how those things, and what are goals? They have to be specific. You've got to be able to have a kind of tangibility to them. So to say, SMART is the acronym that is usually used for goal setting. That is, must be specific, must be measurable, you must be able to articulate it, it must be attainable. If you can articulate it, you can attain it. It must be realistic. Don't set some bogus goals. Set small goals. Achieving them will motivate you to do greater one. And then it must be time-based. 7 years, 4 years, 5 years, 1 year. Thomas Carlyle. Let me round it up with Thomas Carlyle quote from the book Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. He says, "A man with a half volition goes back and forth and makes no progress or on even the smoothest road, whereas a person with a full volition moves ahead steadily no matter how difficult the path is." So what's a volition? It's your intention. So don't walk with half intention. Be fully committed to what you have set out to do. That's where we're finishing for tonight. I hope you've been blessed by this, and I believe that these things will revolutionize and change you. I am Tunde Ogedengbe, the lead pastor of Kingdom Arena, Luton here, and we are trusting God for greater things. We are believing Him for greater things ahead of us, and we are convinced that there are still better days ahead of us. I believe there are better days ahead of you too. Join us during this Sunday. We have our annual diversity celebration this Sunday, in which we come in our native ways, our national regalia, if there is any national regalia. So join us 11 a.m. here at Luton, Kingdom Arena Luton, while we celebrate our diversity in unity. Because the scripture says, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is a unity of the Spirit given to us by the Holy Spirit, that part of us celebrating that is to recognize our differences and thanking God for making us one in His body. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for joining me. I believe as we come to the end of this program, I trust God that you have been tremendously blessed. Thank you so much. God bless you. The Lord bless and keep you and makes His face to shine upon you. The Lord be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance towards you and grant you peace. For indeed by this shall the name of the Lord rest upon you, and indeed give you peace. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you.